What's up, guys? My name is Anthony. Welcome along to another edition of Inter Talks, the show for all English-speaking Inter fans around the world. We are happy to bring you another edition today full of positivity after another good result. The result was good. The performance, not so good. So we're going to dive into the performances individually for all of our players. Spalletti, what went right, what many things went wrong, and where do we go from here, basically going into the international break and three very tricky fixtures coming up after that. So today we saw the team defeat SPAL 2-1 after grabbing an early goal to Mauro Icardi in the 13th minute. SPAL got a much-deserved equaliser around minute 73, 74, something like that. Only for Mauro Icardi to score his second almost instantly after that with a sublime ball through from Ivan Perisic, who didn't play that well today again, but we'll dive into that shortly. So altogether, the match wasn't a vintage Inter performance. It was quite sloppy and all over the place. And I think that coming away with this result was just so important. I think the boys will get back in the dressing room and, you know, they'll slap each other. And they won't be too happy with the effort, but they will be happy at grinding out that result, especially after so much rotation. So we saw Samir Handanovic in goals again today. He receives a 7 from SempreInter. I'm going to disagree with this rating. I strongly believe that he was a little bit more at fault for the equaliser than a lot of the fans are suggesting. Joao Miranda came back into centre-back for Vrij, and he receives a 5.5. I agree with this rating and also would have given Handanovic a 5.5. Yes, Miranda is a little bit slow to backtrack on that second goal and to cover his man. I think Vrij would have covered his man. But Handanovic, just in typical Handanovic fashion this season and last season, he just stands still. He doesn't look like he's making a valiant attempt to even get himself into those small chances to make a save. I want to see Handanovic act as though he stands a chance. Some pride would go a long way for me. And you know, we gave away a penalty. Miranda gave away the penalty, a sloppy penalty. And even though the penalty went wide, no dive, no attempt at all from Handanovic. He's just static. And the worst part about today's for Handanovic, again, I'm never comfortable when the ball's at his feet. How many more short passes, 9, 12, 15-yard passes is he going to make that either get intercepted or are closed down really, really quickly and put us on the back foot on the offense straight away? So not impressed again with Samir Handanovic. I just think he needs to focus a little bit more. Milan Skriniar, a little bit more to do today without Vrij next to him. I still think he was very good. He receives a 6. Probably would have given him a 6.5. Sime Vrsaljko received a 6.5 as well. Didn't look that comfortable, I think, today, but that's to be expected with, you know, sitting out as long as he has. He has not been called up for international duty with Croatia for the upcoming friendlies, which is really, really good news for us. That means we can keep him training hard and monitoring his progress as that goes along. Quadra Samoa, he gets a 6.5 from SempreInter. I would agree. Sorry, a 6, not a 6.5. I would agree with the 6. I think that he was a little bit more reserved today, but that's okay. I think that SPAL had a technical plan in order to keep Asamoah a little bit more defensive on the left-hand side. Hence why a lot of their work was coming through the other side, was going through Vrsaljko. So I think Asamoah had a decent match, but from what we've seen recently, he could have been a little bit better today. But then again, the whole team could have been a lot better today. Also have to factor in the rotation as well. Some players, they're not used to playing with each other. They haven't had the chance to gel yet for 90 whole minutes. I think that's important as well to remember. Matias Vecino and Borja Valero were our double pivot today. Risky. Brozovic was injured. I still would have put Gagliardini in there instead of Valero or even instead of Vecino. Valero, in my opinion, was better than Vecino today. They both received... Valero received a 6. Vecino a 6.5. I just don't think Matias Vecino offers anything in terms of being on the ball. He runs more than Vecino. He backtracks better than Valero. Runs more than Valero. But in terms of actually getting the ball, Borja was slow today, but still very, very distributive. He would pick up the ball, beat a man, look up, and realize I've got 3 seconds to play with the ball here, and I'm just going to put a nice pass anywhere, whether it was far side or forward. I was impressed with Borja Valero today, but once again, not a 90-minute player. A 30-minute performance or even a second half cameo is really where he lives this season. Raja Nainggolan, I'm starting to see a very similar pattern in all of his performances. The pattern is that he is probably our best player on the field for the first 45 minutes. He runs really hard. He's very energetic, makes fantastic contributions in both defense and attack. But then come minute 55, 60, it's almost as though he's done, finished. All energy is gone. He makes really, really poor decisions. Passes are poorly timed. There was a couple times in the second half where his shooting was abysmal. He actually missed the ball twice for 2 different shots. The first one where he attempted a ludicrous half volley, and the second one, he really should have hit the target there. He just completely miscued the kick, and it went wide. Ivan Perisic gets a 6. I probably would have given him a 5.5. I don't think he was that good today, and I think that assist at the end is really what saved face for him today. It was a beautiful pass, I'm not going to lie. Something that he can pick out 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. But yeah, he looks fatigued and just looks like he needs a proper rest, a proper 90-minute rest. Keita Balde, he has not contributed at all this season and looks really put off after being on the bench for a few weeks. That one-on-one chance where he could have squared it to Icardi to make it 2-0, I was furious. That was the most infuriating part of the match for me. To see him dribble the ball so slowly with no one in front of him and just not absolutely smash it in or square it to Icardi earlier, that's where I knew we were going to be in trouble, because we are a team who needs to capitalize on every single goal-scoring opportunity. Unfortunately, we didn't that time, and it did almost come back to bite us in the bottom today. Capitano Mauro receives a 7.5. I agree with the 7.5. The only reason we can't go higher is because, once again, he's just invisible for so long. Maurito was invisible for almost 88 minutes of the match. And then in 2 separate situations, he proves to be the only thing that we need. And that second goal was crisply taken, beautiful. The first one was a little bit sloppy, a bit of a mess. But he was there, he was in those positions, and he converted twice today. And that's all we can ask from our captain at the end of the day. Matteo Politano and Lautaro Martinez both received 6 for their offensive contributions when they came on. Politano is excellent. I've been very, very happy with his performances this season, and I think that they are going to continue. He came on, and there was one instance with about 3 minutes left where he got the ball and literally ran rings around defenders. He probably ate up about 40, 45 seconds worth of clock time. It was actually fantastic to see. I just feel very safe when he's on the right wing. He's got more energy than Kandreva. He's better than Keita Balde. Yeah, there really is no reason why he should be on the bench unless it's purely for physical reasons. Luciano Spalletti, he had another good match today, in my opinion. I wasn't too sure at the end why he chose to sub Icardi out so soon, with about 8 or 9 minutes left. I thought it was a bit early, but then when I rethought about the fact that he brought on Martinez for Valero, for some more attacking pedigree, and that did lead to the goal, and then bringing on Roberto Gagliardini for Icardi, I actually think these decisions were correct. These were good decisions from Spalletti, and yeah, it was nice to see us close out this match and not give SPAL 99% of the ball in the final 6 or 7 minutes either, like they did last season, and they ended up scoring and making it, I forget, was it 1-1 or 2-2 in the very last kick of the match last season. So it was very good, very happy to receive the 3 points today. We have an international break now for 2 weeks, which means we don't see Inter play for 2 weeks. I am not a big fan of the international break at all, but if there was ever a time for it, for us, for Inter, it is now. This is a great time for the international break. We've got a few players who weren't called up for international duty, who are going to have plenty of time to recuperate, to recover, to collect themselves, and I think that will really work for us properly. Our next fixture is none other than the derby. Us versus Milan. I'm super excited for it. We are going to bring you a different sort of match preview for that one, in where me and Raul and myself will get on camera together and run it sort of more as a discussion leading up to the derby. It should be a really good match. Milan have collected a couple of wins after going on a bit of a slump, but all form really goes out the window in terms of these matches, and it's just all about who's hungrier on the day, and I think that we will be hungrier on the day. I certainly hope so. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again. It's been a pleasure to bring you this positive result and another positive move in the right direction for Inter. So as always, ragazzi, ciao, thank you, Forza Inter.